The brackish waters of the Chesapeake Bay glimmered under a pale winter sun as the war canoe cut through the shallows. At its helm stood a man whose name would echo through time, Powhatan, known to history as Chief Powhatan. His cloak of raccoon pelts shifted in the wind, revealing the scars of old battles and the hard-won authority of a ruler who had united 30 tribes into the most powerful native confederacy on the Atlantic coast. This was no noble savage of European imagination. This was a calculating statesman, a master of psychological warfare, and the only man who ever made the English colonists kneel. The year was 1607. Across the water, a handful of starving Englishmen huddled inside the palisades of Jamestown, their velvet doublets rotting in the humid air. They believed themselves the vanguard of civilization. Powhatan knew better. He had been watching these pale strangers for months, through the eyes of his network of runners, their clumsy attempts at farming, their petty infighting, the way they sickened and died from diseases his people shrugged off. They called themselves settlers. To the Powhatan people, they were something far more dangerous, bad guests who refused to learn the rules of the house. Long before the English arrived, Powhatan had built his empire through equal parts strategy and terror. Born around 1547, he inherited rule over 6 tribes from his father. By 1607, he commanded 32. His methods were ruthless. Long before the English arrived, Powhatan had built his empire through equal parts strategy and terror. Born around 1547, he inherited rule over 6 tribes from his father. By 1607, he commanded 32. His methods were ruthless. The bloody coronation. When the Chickahominy resisted assimilation, Powhatan slaughtered their priests and replaced them with his own, then took their children as hostages, raising them as loyal elites. The silent trade network. His control extended from the copper mines of the Appalachians to the shell-rich shores of the Atlantic, creating an economic web no rival could break. The Ghost Warriors, elite fighters coated in white clay who struck at dusk, leaving enemies to wonder if spirits had taken their kin. When Captain John Smith wrote that Powhatan ruled with a tyrannous authority, he failed to mention that the English crown did the same, just less effectively. Powhatan's strategy was a blend of diplomacy, intimidation, and tactical warfare. His alliances were carefully chosen and his enemies were systematically weakened. By controlling key resources and trade routes, he ensured his dominance over the region. This strategic brilliance allowed him to maintain power and influence, even in the face of European encroachment. The Jamestown colonists' first winter reduced them to eating rats, shoe leather, and finally, each other. Of the original 104 settlers, only 38 survived. Through it all, Powhatan watched. He could have wiped them out with a single order. Instead, he chose a more cunning path-controlled charity. His people delivered just enough corn to keep the English alive, but never enough to let them grow independent. Each basket of grain came with implicit lessons. December 1607. After Smith is captured, Powhatan stages an elaborate execution ceremony, only to spare him at the last moment, a psychological masterstroke that left the English perpetually off balance. January 1608. The famous Pocahontas rescue likely never happened as told. Tribal oral history suggests it was a ritual adoption ceremony, twisting Smith's memory into propaganda. Summer 1609. When the colonists grow bold, Powhatan orders a siege by neglect. His people vanish from trade routes, letting hunger do what arrows couldn't. This is the real Jamestown story they don't teach. Want to know how Powhatan's daughter Pocahontas became history's first spy? Subscribe now. The truth will shock you. By 1610, the English had become an open wound on Powhatan's land. His response was a campaign of psychological warfare that predated modern special ops by centuries. The burning message captured colonists were released unharmed, but with their lips sewn shut with deer sinew, a silent warning to Jamestown. The ghost canoes, empty boats drifted into the settlement at night, filled only with carved faces of Englishmen known to be dead back in London. The poisoned feast. A peace offering of tainted food sent dozens of colonists into convulsions. Modern analysis suggests water hemlock. When the English retaliated by burning villages, they found them already abandoned, with corn stores hidden in underwater caches only Powhatan's people knew. The turning point came not from battle, but from biology. In 1613, Pocahontas was captured, not by force, but by deception. Lured aboard an English ship under flag of truce, she became a hostage. What happened next remains controversial. The convert. After a year in custody, she emerged baptized as Rebecca married to tobacco planter John Rolfe. The royal tour, taken to London as proof of civilized savages, she dazzled King James I by speaking fluent English and playing the virginal, the mysterious death. Just as she was about to return home in 1617, she sickened and died at Gravesend. Powhatan received her preserved heart in a silver box, the final insult. Within a year, the old chief was dead too, some say of grief. His brother Opechancanough took up the mantle, and unleashed the 1622 massacre that wiped out a third of Virginia's colonists in a single morning. The legacy in the soil. Today, archaeologists still find traces of Powhatan's invisible war, the Copper Code. Recent X-rays of traded copper plates reveal subtle indentations, possibly a record-keeping system the English never detected. The poisoned arrow, a 1612-era arrowhead in Jamestown's well-tested positive for a neurotoxin derived from Jimson weed. The hidden map's 20th-century land deeds still reference Powhatan's boundary oaks, trees marked with symbols that mysteriously resisted colonial axes. His greatest monument is what didn't happen. No statues, no Hollywood endings, just the quiet knowledge that for one brief moment, the course of American history bent to the will of a man who understood power better than his invaders. Powhatan's war wasn't fought with muskets, it was won with minds. If you believe these lost strategies deserve remembering, subscribe and turn on notifications. Who should we profile next? The Iroquois Congress that inspired the Constitution, the Inca general who beat the conquistadors? Comment below.